Welcome back to Sleepy Facts. Take a slow breath. Relax your mind. Rest smarter as we gently drift into tonight's story. If you'd like more quiet stories like this, you are welcome to subscribe. And if there is a topic you want to hear next, just whisper it in the comments. Tonight, we journey through the greatest story ever told. Not a story written in books, but one written in rocks, in fossils, in the very molecules of your body. The story of life on Earth. A story that spans nearly 4 billion years from the first simple cells to the magnificent diversity of living things that surrounds you today. This is your story too, because you are part of this unbroken chain of life stretching back to the very beginning. Close your eyes and imagine Earth 4 billion years ago. There is no grass beneath your feet because there are no plants. No birds sing because there are no birds. No insects buzz because insects don't yet exist. The continents are barren rock and sand. The oceans are vast and empty. The sky is a different color, perhaps orange or pink, because the atmosphere contains almost no oxygen. This world is unrecognizable, hostile, alien. Yet this is where your story begins. Life's origin remains mysterious. We don't know exactly how it happened, though we understand some pieces of the puzzle. Earth formed about 4.6 billion years ago from dust and gas orbiting the young sun. For hundreds of millions of years, Earth was hellish. Molten rock, volcanic eruptions, asteroid bombardments. Gradually, the planet cooled, water vapor condensed, creating the first oceans. And somewhere in those ancient oceans, perhaps near volcanic vents on the seafloor, perhaps in warm, shallow pools, perhaps delivered by comets from space, the chemistry of life began. What makes something alive? Life requires certain characteristics. It must be organized, with complex structures serving specific functions. It must metabolize, taking in energy and materials from the environment. It must respond to its surroundings. It must maintain homeostasis, keeping its internal conditions stable. It must grow, and crucially, it must reproduce, creating copies of itself that can inherit traits and continue the lineage. The first living things were almost certainly single cells, far simpler than any cells alive today. These protocells were probably just membranes enclosing a few self-replicating molecules. They weren't DNA-based life as we know it, but something more primitive. RNA, a molecule similar to DNA, might have been the first genetic material because RNA can both store information and catalyze chemical reactions. This RNA world hypothesis suggests that early life was based on RNA before DNA and proteins evolved. How did non-living chemistry become living cells? This transition required several crucial steps. First, simple organic molecules, amino acids, sugars, nucleotides, had to form. Experiments show these can arise from simple chemicals under conditions likely present on early Earth. Second, these molecules had to organize into larger structures. Proteins, RNA chains, membranes. Third, these structures had to become enclosed in membranes, creating boundaries between inside and outside. Fourth, these protocells had to develop metabolism, ways of obtaining energy and building materials. Fifth, they had to reproduce, making copies that inherited their chemical machinery. Each step seems improbable, yet each had hundreds of millions of years and entire oceans in which to occur. Given enough time and space, the improbable becomes inevitable. Life emerged not through a single miraculous event, but through countless chemical experiments occurring simultaneously in countless locations. Most failed, a few succeeded. Those few that worked persisted and improved. The earliest evidence of life dates to about 3.8 billion years ago, perhaps earlier. The evidence is indirect. Carbon isotope ratios in ancient rocks suggesting biological activity. By 3.5 billion years ago, we have more definite evidence. Fossils of stromatolites, layered structures built by colonies of microorganisms. These ancient microbes were probably similar to modern cyanobacteria, single-celled organisms that could photosynthesize, using sunlight to convert carbon dioxide and water into organic molecules and oxygen. For nearly 2 billion years, almost half of life's history, Earth was a microbial world. All life was single-celled. No organisms were visible to the naked eye. Yet during this time, life diversified enormously at the microscopic level. Different lineages evolved different metabolisms. Some used sunlight, others used chemicals from Earth's interior. Some could survive in boiling water, others in frozen ice, others in extremely acidic or salty environments. Life adapted to nearly every available niche. The most important innovation during this period was photosynthesis. Cyanobacteria evolved the ability to use sunlight to split water molecules, releasing oxygen as a waste product. This had profound consequences. For billions of years, Earth's atmosphere contained almost no free oxygen. Oxygen is highly reactive, and what little existed quickly reacted with rocks and dissolved in oceans. But cyanobacteria produced oxygen faster than it could be absorbed. Slowly, over hundreds of millions of years, oxygen accumulated in the atmosphere. This was the Great Oxygenation Event, occurring around 2.4 billion years ago for organisms adapted to an oxygen-free world. This was catastrophic. Oxygen was toxic to them, causing chemical reactions that damaged their cells. Many microbes died or retreated to oxygen-free environments, deep ocean sediments, underground, inside other organisms, where their descendants live today as extremophiles. But oxygen also created opportunities. Aerobic respiration, using oxygen to break down food molecules, yields far more energy than anaerobic processes. Organisms that could tolerate oxygen and evolved ways to use it had enormous advantages. They could grow larger, move faster, do more. Oxygen in the atmosphere also created the ozone layer, which blocks harmful ultraviolet radiation, making surface environments safer for life. The Great Oxygenation Event transformed Earth, creating conditions for complex life. Another crucial development was the evolution of eukaryotic cells around 2 billion years ago. For the first 2 billion years of life's history, all cells were prokaryotes, bacteria and archaea, small, simple cells without internal compartments. Eukaryotic cells are larger and more complex, with a nucleus containing DNA and various organelles, mitochondria, chloroplasts, endoplasmic reticulum, each performing specialized functions. Eukaryotic cells arose through endosymbiosis, one of evolution's most remarkable events. An ancient prokaryotic cell engulfed another prokaryote, but didn't digest it. Instead, the two cells began living together. The engulfed cell provided energy through aerobic respiration. The host cell provided protection and nutrients. Over time, the two became inseparable, with the engulfed cell evolving into mitochondria, the powerhouses of eukaryotic cells. Later, some eukaryotic cells engulfed cyanobacteria, which became chloroplasts, enabling photosynthesis. In plants and algae, evidence for endosymbiosis is strong. Mitochondria and chloroplasts have their own DNA, separate from the cell's nuclear DNA. This DNA resembles bacterial DNA, not eukaryotic DNA. Mitochondria and chloroplasts reproduce independently within cells, dividing like bacteria. They have double membranes, consistent with being engulfed by another cell. This endosymbiotic origin of organelles is one of evolution's most elegant solutions, creating complexity by merging simpler forms. For another billion years, life remained entirely aquatic and mostly microscopic. Then, around 600 to 700 million years ago, multicellular life evolved. Some cells began staying together after dividing, forming colonies. In these colonies, cells could specialize, some for obtaining food, others for reproduction, others for protection. Specialization allowed greater efficiency. Multicellular organisms could grow larger, access new food sources, and develop complex behaviors impossible for single cells. The Ediacaran period, from 635 to 541 million years ago, saw the first diverse assemblages of multicellular organisms. Ediacaran fossils show strange, soft-bodied creatures unlike anything alive today. Some looked like quilted mattresses, others like ferns, others like segmented worms. Most were immobile, sitting on the seafloor, absorbing nutrients or filtering water. The Ediacaran world was quiet and slow compared to what would come next. Then, around 541 million years ago, something extraordinary happened: the Cambrian Explosion. Over just 10 to 20 million years, an eye blink in geological time, nearly all major animal body plans appeared in the fossil record. Arthropods with jointed legs and hard exoskeletons, mollusks with shells, chordates with notochords, the precursors to backbones, creatures with eyes, jaws, claws, armor. The Cambrian seas teemed with diverse, complex, often bizarre animals competing, hunting, hiding. What triggered the Cambrian explosion? Multiple factors probably contributed. Rising oxygen levels allowed larger, more active animals. The evolution of predation created evolutionary arms races, prey developing defenses, predators developing better ways to catch prey. The evolution of eyes allowed animals to see predators and prey, changing behavior and ecology profoundly. The evolution of mineralized shells and skeletons provided protection and structural support. Once these innovations appeared, diversification accelerated rapidly. Life remained aquatic for millions of years after the Cambrian explosion. The land was still barren, just rock, sand, and dirt. But around 470 million years ago, plants began colonizing land. The first land plants were tiny, moss-like organisms, hugging moist ground. They had to solve enormous challenges. In water, organisms are supported by buoyancy. On land, they need structures to stand upright. In water, organisms are surrounded by dissolved nutrients. On land, they need roots to extract nutrients from soil and structures to transport water internally. In water, reproduction through releasing sperm and eggs is straightforward. On land, organisms need ways to prevent reproductive cells from drying out. Early land plants evolved solutions to these challenges. They developed simple vascular systems to transport water. They developed waxy coatings to prevent water loss. They developed spores for reproduction, which could survive harsh conditions. Over millions of years, plants became larger and more complex. By 360 million years ago, the first forests existed, trees towering over 30 meters tall, creating complex ecosystems on land. Plants' colonization of land transformed Earth. They weathered rocks, creating soil. They produced oxygen through photosynthesis, enriching the atmosphere further. They created habitats and food sources for other organisms. Soon after plants colonized land, animals followed. Arthropods, ancestors of modern insects, spiders, and centipedes, were among the first land animals. They could eat the plants and decomposing organic matter. Later came vertebrates, descendants of fish that had evolved lungs and limb-like fins. The transition from water to land was one of evolution's greatest achievements. Around 370 million years ago, certain lobe-finned fish living in shallow waters evolved stronger fins that could support their weight. These fins eventually became limbs. These fish, called tetrapods, could crawl onto land, escaping predators or accessing new food sources. Early tetrapods were clumsy on land, probably spending most of their time in water. But over millions of years, their descendants became better adapted to terrestrial life. Amphibians evolved from these early tetrapods. Amphibians could live on land, but had to return to water to reproduce. Their eggs lacked protective shells and would dry out on land. Their young went through an aquatic larval stage before metamorphosing into terrestrial adults. Amphibians thrived during the Carboniferous period, 360 to 300 million years ago, when warm, wet conditions created vast, swampy forests. Then reptiles evolved around 320 million years ago. Reptiles had a crucial innovation, the amniotic egg. This egg had a protective shell and internal membranes, providing the embryo with water, nutrients, and waste storage. Amniotic eggs could be laid on land, freeing reptiles from dependence on water for reproduction. This allowed reptiles to colonize dry environments inaccessible to amphibians. Reptiles diversified rapidly, evolving into many forms. Some returned to water, others climbed trees, others burrowed underground, others grew enormous. The Permian period, 299 to 252 million years ago, saw reptiles dominating both land and sea. But the Permian ended with the greatest mass extinction in Earth's history, the Permian Triassic extinction, 252 million years ago. Roughly 90% of marine species and 70% of land species went extinct. The causes included massive volcanic eruptions in Siberia, releasing enormous amounts of carbon dioxide and sulfur dioxide. This caused global warming, ocean acidification, and oxygen depletion. The extinction took hundreds of thousands of years, but its effects were devastating. Life recovered slowly. The Triassic period that followed saw the rise of dinosaurs. Dinosaurs evolved from reptilian ancestors around 230 million years ago. Early dinosaurs were small, agile predators, but they diversified into an astonishing variety of forms over the next 165 million years. Some dinosaurs grew enormous, sauropods weighing over 50 tons, longer than a blue whale. Others remained small, some no bigger than chickens. Some were fearsome predators with dagger-like teeth. Others were peaceful herbivores with complex digestive systems. Some had armor, horns, or elaborate crests. Dinosaurs dominated terrestrial ecosystems for over 160 million years, far longer than mammals have dominated. During this time, other important groups evolved. Mammals appeared around 225 million years ago, evolving from reptilian ancestors. Early mammals were small, probably nocturnal, living in the shadows of the dinosaurs. Birds evolved from small, feathered dinosaurs around 160 million years ago. The earliest birds, like Archaeopteryx, had features of both dinosaurs and modern birds: teeth, clawed wings, a long bony tail, but also feathers and wishbones. Flowering plants, angiosperms, evolved around 130 million years ago and quickly diversified. Before flowering plants, the world was dominated by ferns, cycads, and conifers. Flowering plants had advantages: faster growth, more efficient reproduction, diverse partnerships with pollinators. They transformed landscapes, providing new food sources and habitats. The co-evolution of flowering plants and insects, particularly pollinators like bees and butterflies, created intricate ecological relationships. Then, 66 million years ago, disaster struck. A massive asteroid, about 10 kilometers wide, slammed into Earth near what is now Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula. The impact released energy equivalent to billions of atomic bombs. It created a crater almost 200 kilometers across. It vaporized rock, sending debris high into the atmosphere. It triggered earthquakes, tsunamis, and wildfires. Dust and soot blocked sunlight for months or years, causing global cooling and halting photosynthesis. This was the Cretaceous-Paleogene Extinction Event, which killed about 75% of all species, including all non-avian dinosaurs. The extinction was selective. Large animals suffered most. Animals dependent on photosynthesis, directly or indirectly, died in massive numbers, but some groups survived. Mammals, mostly small and able to shelter underground, survived. Birds survived, though many groups went extinct. Crocodiles and turtles survived. Many fish, insects, and plants survived. These survivors inherited a changed world, one no longer dominated by dinosaurs. Mammals rapidly diversified after the extinction, filling ecological niches left empty by dinosaurs. Within 10 million years, mammals had evolved into many forms. Some remained small, others grew large. Some climbed trees, others swam, others flew. Whales evolved from land-dwelling mammals that returned to the sea, eventually losing their hind limbs entirely. Bats evolved flight, becoming the only flying mammals. Primates evolved, adapting to life in trees. Primates first appeared around 60 million years ago. Early primates were small, tree-dwelling creatures with grasping hands, forward-facing eyes for depth perception, and relatively large brains. Over millions of years, primates diversified. Some remained small and nocturnal. Others became larger and more social. Around 25 million years ago, apes split from monkeys. Apes are generally larger, with no tails, more upright postures, and more complex social behaviors. Around 7 million years ago, the human lineage split from chimpanzees, our closest living relatives. The first members of the human lineage, called hominins, lived in Africa. They were different from earlier apes, mainly in one feature. They walked upright on two legs. Bipedalism had advantages. It freed the hands for carrying objects and tools, allowed seeing over tall grass, and was more energy efficient for covering long distances. But it also had costs: slower maximum speed, more difficult childbirth, back problems. Early hominins, like Sahelanthropus and Ardipithecus, were still quite ape-like in many ways. They lived in forests and woodlands, probably spending time in trees as well as on the ground. Around 4 million years ago, Australopithecus appeared. Australopithecines were fully bipedal, but still had small brains, about the size of a chimpanzee's. They lived in diverse African environments, eating fruits, leaves, and probably some meat. Around 2.5 million years ago, the genus Homo appeared. The earliest Homo species had slightly larger brains than Australopithecines and made stone tools, simple flakes struck from larger rocks. These tools could cut meat, break bones to access marrow, and process plant foods. Tool use provided advantages: access to more nutrients, reduced time spent chewing, ability to defend against predators. Brain size increased gradually in early Homo species, reaching about 2/3 the size of modern human brains by 2 million years ago. Homo erectus, appearing around 1.9 million years ago, was the first hominin to spread beyond Africa. Homo erectus fossils are found in Africa, Asia, and possibly Europe. They controlled fire, built shelters, and made more sophisticated tools. Their brain size varied but averaged about 70% of modern humans. Homo erectus survived for over 1.5 million years, far longer than modern humans have existed, testament to their successful adaptations. Around 700,000 years ago, the Homo lineage split into several species. Neanderthals evolved in Europe and Western Asia. Denisovans evolved in Central and Eastern Asia. Homo floresiensis, a small-bodied species, lived on Indonesian islands, and the lineage leading to modern humans, Homo sapiens, evolved in Africa. For hundreds of thousands of years, multiple human species coexisted, occupying different regions, adapted to different environments. Neanderthals were skilled hunters and toolmakers. They controlled fire, built shelters, cared for their sick and elderly, and buried their dead with ceremony. Their brains were as large as or larger than modern humans. They were physically robust, adapted to cold climates. For decades, Neanderthals were portrayed as primitive and brutish, but research now shows they were sophisticated, intelligent, and cultured. Modern humans, Homo sapiens, evolved in Africa around 300,000 years ago. For most of their existence, they remained in Africa. Then, around 70,000 to 100,000 years ago, some modern humans left Africa, spreading throughout the world. They reached the Middle East, then Europe, Asia, and eventually Australia by at least 65,000 years ago. They reached the Americas much later, probably around 15,000 to 20,000 years ago. Though this is debated. As modern humans spread, they encountered other human species. In Europe and Western Asia, they met Neanderthals. In Asia, they met Denisovans. These meetings sometimes involved interbreeding. Modern humans today carry small amounts of Neanderthal and Denisovan DNA, evidence of ancient genetic mixing. But these other human species eventually went extinct between 40,000 and 30,000 years ago for Neanderthals. Why they disappeared is debated. Competition with modern humans, climate change, disease, or some combination. Modern humans had some advantages. They developed more sophisticated tools, including projectile weapons like spears and later bows and arrows. They created art, cave paintings, sculptures, jewelry, musical instruments. They developed more complex languages and social organizations. These cultural innovations allowed them to adapt rapidly to new environments without biological evolution. When entering cold climates, they didn't need to evolve thick fur. They made warm clothing. When encountering new prey, they invented new hunting strategies. Agriculture emerged around 10,000 years ago independently in multiple locations: the Middle East, China, Mesoamerica, Africa, New Guinea. Humans domesticated wild plants, selecting for larger seeds, easier harvesting, and better taste. They domesticated animals for food, labor, and transportation. Agriculture allowed larger populations, permanent settlements, and eventually cities and civilizations. But it also brought challenges: harder work, poorer nutrition for some, diseases, and social inequality. The last 10,000 years saw explosive human population growth and technological development. From a few million hunter-gatherers, humanity grew to over 8 billion people today. Humans transformed Earth profoundly, clearing forests for farmland, damming rivers, building cities, extracting resources, releasing pollution. Human impact is now so great that scientists debate whether we've entered a new geological epoch, the Anthropocene, defined by human influence on Earth's geology and ecosystems. Evolution continues today. It hasn't stopped. It never stops as long as life exists. Bacteria evolve resistance to antibiotics. Insects evolve resistance to pesticides. Animals adapt to urban environments. Climate change drives evolutionary changes as species adapt to shifting conditions or go extinct. Even humans continue evolving, though slowly. Genes affecting disease resistance, digestion, and other traits have changed frequency in recent millennia. But what is evolution exactly? At its core, evolution is change in inherited characteristics of populations over generations. It happens through several mechanisms. Natural selection, the process Darwin made famous, occurs when individuals with certain traits survive and reproduce more successfully than others. If those traits are heritable, they become more common over time. Traits enhancing survival and reproduction spread. Traits reducing survival or reproduction decline. Natural selection requires 3 conditions: variation, inheritance, and differential reproductive success. First, individuals must vary in their traits. Second, these variations must be heritable, passed from parents to offspring. Third, some variants must be more successful at surviving and reproducing than others. When all 3 conditions exist, evolution by natural selection occurs automatically. But natural selection isn't evolution's only mechanism. Genetic drift causes random changes in gene frequencies, especially in small populations. A storm might randomly kill certain individuals, changing the population's genetic makeup without any selective advantage. Mutations create new genetic variations randomly. Gene flow occurs when individuals migrate between populations, mixing genes. All these processes contribute to evolution. Evolution has no goal or direction. It doesn't progress toward perfection or complexity. It simply adapts populations to their current environments through natural selection and other mechanisms. Sometimes evolution increases complexity, as when single cells became multicellular organisms. Sometimes it reduces complexity, as when cave-dwelling animals lost their eyes. Evolution does what works for survival and reproduction in specific circumstances. Common misconceptions about evolution persist. Evolution doesn't mean humans evolved from modern chimpanzees. Rather, humans and chimpanzees share a common ancestor that lived millions of years ago Evolution doesn't happen to individuals during their lifetimes. Individuals don't evolve. Populations do, over generations. Evolution doesn't violate the second law of thermodynamics. While that law says entropy increases in closed systems, Earth isn't closed. It receives energy from the sun. Evolution doesn't require mutations to be beneficial. Most mutations are neutral or harmful, but the rare beneficial ones are preserved by selection. Evidence for evolution is overwhelming and comes from many fields. The fossil record shows the progression of life forms over time, with simpler organisms in older rocks and more complex ones in newer rocks. Transitional fossils show intermediate forms between major groups: fish with limb-like fins, reptiles with mammalian features, dinosaurs with feathers. These fossils confirm evolutionary predictions about what creatures should have existed at certain times. Comparative anatomy reveals similarities among species reflecting common ancestry. Human arms, whale flippers, bat wings, and horse legs have the same bone structure: one upper bone, two lower bones, wrist bones, and digits. This pattern makes sense only through common ancestry from a shared ancestor with this limb structure. Each group modified the basic pattern for different functions, but the underlying similarity remains. Vestigial structures are remnants of features that served functions in ancestors, but are reduced or functionless in descendants. Humans have a tailbone, but no tail. Whales have pelvic bones, but no hind legs. Flightless birds have wing bones, but can't fly. These vestigial features make sense only through evolution. They're leftovers from ancestors that had tails, walked on legs, or flew. Embryological development shows similarities among related species. Vertebrate embryos all pass through stages where they have gill slits and tails, even if these features disappear before birth in many species. This reflects shared developmental programs inherited from common ancestors. Evolution modifies development, often adding new stages or altering existing ones, rather than starting from scratch. Molecular evidence is perhaps most powerful. DNA sequences can be compared among species. Closely related species have more similar DNA than distantly related ones. The pattern of similarities matches the pattern predicted by evolution. Humans and chimpanzees share about 98% of their DNA. Humans and mice share about 85%. Humans and chickens share about 60%. These percentages reflect how recently we shared common ancestors. Molecular clocks use mutation rates to estimate when species diverged. DNA accumulates mutations at roughly constant rates. By counting differences between species, DNA, and knowing the mutation rate, scientists can estimate when they shared a common ancestor. Molecular clocks generally agree with fossil evidence, providing independent confirmation of evolutionary timelines. Evolution explains not just what exists, but also what doesn't. Why are there no mammals that photosynthesize? Because mammals evolved from ancestors that didn't photosynthesize, and evolving this complex system from scratch is nearly impossible. Why are there no six-legged vertebrates? Because vertebrates evolved from fish with 4 limbs, and no pressure or pathway led to adding 2 more. Evolution works with existing materials, modifying what's already there, rather than creating perfect designs from scratch. Evolution also explains imperfections. Organisms aren't perfectly designed. They're jury-rigged solutions cobbled together from whatever variations appeared and worked. The human eye has a blind spot where the optic nerve exits because the retina is installed backwards due to evolutionary history. Human sinuses drain upward, making them prone to infection because they evolved from fish that lived horizontally. Men can choke because the pathways for breathing and eating cross, a problem fish don't have. These design flaws make sense through evolution, but not through intentional design. Evolution predicts future changes. As antibiotics are used, bacteria will evolve resistance. As pesticides are applied, pests will evolve resistance. As climates change, species will evolve adaptations or shift their ranges or go extinct. Evolution provides a framework for understanding and predicting biological responses to environmental changes. This understanding is crucial for medicine, agriculture, conservation, and anticipating future challenges. The tree of life connects all living things through common ancestry. At the base of the tree is LUCA, the last universal common ancestor, the organism from which all life descended. From LUCA, life branched into 3 domains: bacteria, archaea, and eukarya. Each domain branched repeatedly over billions of years, creating the millions of species alive today, plus countless extinct lineages. Every organism, from bacteria to redwood trees to blue whales to humans, is related, part of one vast family tree. This tree isn't static. Branches constantly appear through speciation and disappear through extinction. Most species that have ever lived are now extinct, perhaps 99% or more. Extinction is natural and constant, though rates vary. Background extinction occurs continuously as some species fail to adapt to changing conditions. Mass extinctions occur when catastrophic events kill large percentages of species quickly. 5 major mass extinctions have occurred, and many scientists believe we're in a 6th, caused by human activities. Biodiversity, the variety of life on Earth, is both enormous and threatened. Scientists have described about 2 million species, but estimates of total species range from 5 million to over 10 million, or even higher. Most undescribed species are small: insects, fungi, bacteria, deep-sea organisms. The task of cataloging Earth's biodiversity remains far from complete, even as species disappear before being discovered. Evolution creates biodiversity through speciation, the process by which new species arise. Speciation often occurs when populations become isolated, preventing gene flow. Isolated populations face different environmental pressures. Different mutations arise, and genetic drift causes random changes. Over time, populations diverge genetically and behaviorally until they can no longer interbreed successfully. At this point, they're separate species. Geographic isolation is a common pathway to speciation. A river dividing a population, a mountain range separating groups, or animals reaching an island and being cut off from the mainland can initiate speciation. The Galapagos Islands finches, studied by Darwin, show this process. Finches from mainland South America reached different islands, adapted to different food sources, and evolved into distinct species with different beak shapes. But speciation can also occur without geographic isolation. Sympatric speciation occurs when species diverge while living in the same location. This can happen through polyploidy in plants, where chromosome numbers suddenly double. It can happen through sexual selection, where preferences for different traits split a population into groups that only mate within their group. It can happen through ecological specialization, where different groups exploit different resources and stop interbreeding. The pace of evolution varies. Sometimes change is gradual and steady, accumulating over millions of years. Other times, change is rapid, occurring in bursts. Punctuated equilibrium theory proposes that species often remain stable for long periods, then change rapidly during speciation events. The fossil record shows both patterns, gradual transitions and sudden appearances of new forms. Evolution's pace depends on environmental stability, population size, generation time, and selection pressures. Convergent evolution produces similar features in unrelated lineages facing similar challenges. Wings evolved independently in insects, birds, bats, and pterosaurs. Eyes evolved independently many times. The streamlined body shape evolved independently in fish, ichthyosaurs, dolphins, and penguins. These convergences show that certain solutions work well for certain problems, so evolution repeatedly discovers them. Coevolution occurs when species evolve in response to each other. Predators and prey co-evolve in evolutionary arms races. Prey evolving better defenses, predators evolving better ways to overcome those defenses. Parasites and hosts co-evolve similarly. Flowers and pollinators co-evolve. Flowers evolving features attracting specific pollinators. Pollinators evolving features allowing them to access specific flowers. These coevolutionary relationships create intricate ecological networks. Extinction removes species from the evolutionary tree, but it also creates opportunities. When dominant groups disappear, others can diversify and fill empty niches. Mammals remain small and relatively insignificant, while dinosaurs dominated. After the dinosaur extinction, mammals radiated into diverse forms, filling niches dinosaurs once occupied. Without that extinction, mammals might never have achieved such diversity, and humans might never have evolved. Climate has driven much evolutionary change. Ice ages, warm periods, rising and falling sea levels, expanding and contracting forests. These changes forced species to adapt, migrate, or perish. Current climate change is occurring faster than most past changes, challenging species' ability to adapt. Some species are shifting their ranges toward poles or higher elevations. Others are changing breeding times or migration patterns. But adaptation has limits, and many species face extinction if change is too rapid. Human-caused evolution is increasingly common. Domestication is artificial selection, humans choosing which animals and plants reproduce, selecting for desired traits. Wild wolves became dogs, varying from Chihuahuas to Great Danes. Wild cattle became docile livestock breeds. Wild grasses became wheat, rice, and corn. These transformations occurred through human selection rather than natural selection. But the evolutionary mechanisms are the same. Humans also cause unintentional evolution. Antibiotics create selection pressure, favoring resistant bacteria. Pesticides select for resistant pests. Hunting and fishing select for smaller, slower-growing individuals, as larger, faster-growing ones are preferentially removed. Urban environments select for animals comfortable near humans. Pigeons, rats, coyotes, some birds. Human activities are major evolutionary forces shaping life on Earth. Conservation faces evolutionary challenges. Small populations lose genetic diversity through drift, reducing their ability to adapt. Inbreeding increases harmful mutations effects. Isolated populations can't receive new genes through migration. These factors create extinction vortices. small populations becoming less viable, shrinking further, becoming even less viable, spiraling toward extinction. Maintaining large connected populations is crucial for preserving evolutionary potential. De-extinction, reviving extinct species through cloning or selective breeding, is discussed as a conservation tool. Woolly mammoths might be recreated by editing elephant DNA to include mammoth genes. Passenger pigeons might be recreated by selectively breeding closely related species. But even if technically possible, de-extinction raises questions. Ecosystems have changed. Revived species might not fit. Resources might be better spent protecting endangered species than reviving extinct ones. Evolution provides a unifying framework for all biology. Nothing in biology makes sense except in the light of evolution, as the biologist Theodosius Dobzhansky wrote. Why do organisms have the structures they have? Evolution. Why do organisms behave as they do? Evolution shaped behavior. Why are organisms distributed as they are geographically? Evolution and dispersal. Why do molecules within cells work as they do? Evolution optimized biochemistry. Evolution underlies everything biological. Understanding evolution is also practically important. Medicine depends on evolution. Antibiotic resistance evolves, requiring new drugs and careful antibiotic use to slow resistance. Cancer evolves within bodies as cells mutate and selection favors faster-growing variants. Evolutionary medicine considers how evolutionary processes affect health and disease, providing insights into why we're vulnerable to certain conditions. Agriculture relies on evolution. Crop breeding applies evolutionary principles, selecting for higher yields, disease resistance, better nutrition. Understanding evolution helps predict how pests evolve, resistance to pesticides, and design strategies minimizing resistance. Genetically modified crops are evolution accelerated through molecular biology rather than traditional breeding, but the principles are evolutionary. Evolutionary developmental biology, EVO-DEVO, studies how development evolves. Small changes in developmental timing or gene regulation can produce large morphological changes. This helps explain how evolution generates diversity without requiring improbable sequences of mutations. Changes in when or where genes are expressed during development can transform anatomy dramatically. EVO-DEVO bridges evolution and development, showing how genetic changes produce physical differences. Your own body tells the story of evolution. Your cells contain mitochondria, remnants of ancient bacteria. Your genes include sequences shared with all life, modified versions of genes first evolving billions of years ago. Your body plan, bilateral symmetry, vertebrate, mammalian, primate, reflects your evolutionary history. You have wisdom teeth because your ancestors needed them for tough diets. You get goosebumps because your ancestors had fur that could be raised. You share 98% of your DNA with chimpanzees, testifying to recent shared ancestry. As you rest tonight, consider your place in life's grand story. You are not separate from nature, but part of it. Every cell in your body descended from the first cell billions of years ago through an unbroken chain of reproduction. Your ancestors survived every challenge Earth could offer: climate changes, volcanic eruptions, asteroid impacts, competition, predation, disease, hunger. Every one of your ancestors, stretching back 4 billion years, survived long enough to reproduce. You carry their legacy in your genes. This perspective can be humbling and awe-inspiring. You are the product of nearly 4 billion years of evolution, the current tip of a branch on life's vast tree. You exist because countless ancestors adapted, survived, and reproduced. The odds of your specific existence were astronomically small, yet here you are, a conscious being capable of understanding your own origins and place in the universe. Evolution shaped not just your body, but your mind. Your emotions, behaviors, and cognitive abilities evolved to solve problems your ancestors faced. Fear evolved to help avoid danger. Pleasure evolved to motivate beneficial activities like eating and reproduction. Social emotions like empathy, guilt, and gratitude evolved to facilitate cooperation. Your brain structure, with its ancient reptilian core and newer mammalian and primate additions, reflects evolutionary history. Language, art, music, morality, consciousness itself all have evolutionary roots. Though debates continue about their specifics, these capacities arose in ancestors because they provided advantages. Language enabled cooperation and cultural transmission. Art and music might have facilitated social bonding or demonstrated fitness to potential mates. Morality enabled cooperation in groups. Consciousness might have evolved to model others' minds, predict their behavior, and plan complex actions. Yet humans transcend their evolutionary origins. Culture allows rapid change without genetic evolution. Technologies extend human capabilities far beyond biological limits. Moral systems can oppose evolutionary imperatives. We care for the sick and elderly, share resources, sacrifice personal gain for others' benefit. Reason can override instinct. Understanding evolution doesn't reduce humans to mere products of natural selection. It provides context for understanding ourselves while recognizing our capacity to choose and create. Evolution also provides perspective on life's future. What will Earth look like in 1 million years, in 10 million years, in 100 million years? These timescales seem incomprehensibly long, yet Earth has already existed for 4.6 billion years. Future evolution will depend on environmental conditions, which organisms survive current challenges, and chance. If humans survive, we might continue evolving biologically, albeit slowly. We might also increasingly shape our own evolution through genetic engineering. But humans might not survive. Species' average lifetimes vary widely, but most species eventually go extinct. Humans are young. Our species is only about 300,000 years old. Homo erectus lasted over 1 million years. Horseshoe crabs have existed relatively unchanged for 450 million years. Some species survive for long periods. Others disappear quickly. Human survival depends partly on factors we control: how we manage the environment, resolve conflicts, develop technologies, and partly on factors beyond our control: asteroid impacts, supervolcano eruptions, cosmic events. If humans disappear, evolution will continue. Other species will adapt, diversify, fill niches humans leave empty. After previous mass extinctions, life recovered and diversified, often producing forms more diverse than before. A post-human Earth might eventually be as rich in life as the present, though with different species. Evolution is resilient. Life has survived every catastrophe Earth has experienced and likely will continue as long as Earth remains habitable. The timeline for Earth's habitability is limited. As the sun ages, it will become hotter and brighter. In about 1 billion years, increased solar radiation will likely evaporate Earth's oceans, ending conditions suitable for complex life. In about 5 billion years, the Sun will expand into a red giant, possibly engulfing Earth. Long before then, complex life will probably have ended. Single-celled organisms might persist longer, perhaps surviving in subsurface environments. This distant future needn't be depressing. Life has already flourished for nearly 4 billion years and will likely continue for at least 1 billion more. That's an enormous span. And perhaps life will spread beyond Earth. Humans might establish colonies elsewhere in the solar system or beyond. Life might travel on asteroids or spacecraft to other worlds. Life's story might continue far longer and in more places than its Earth chapter. Evolution challenges certain worldviews, but enriches others. It shows humans aren't separate from or above nature, but part of it. We're kin to all life, sharing ancestry and molecular machinery. This can inspire humility and respect for other living things. It can foster environmental ethics, recognizing humans' interdependence with ecosystems. It can generate wonder at life's diversity and history. Some see conflict between evolution and religion. Others find compatibility or complementarity. Many religious traditions have reconciled with evolution, seeing it as the method through which creation occurs. The Vatican accepts evolution. Many Protestant denominations accept evolution. Jewish, Buddhist, and Hindu scholars have engaged seriously with evolutionary theory. Rejection of evolution is not universal among religious people. An acceptance of evolution doesn't require rejecting spirituality or meaning. Questions evolution can't answer remain. Why does anything exist rather than nothing? What is consciousness? Does life have purpose or meaning beyond survival and reproduction? Science, including evolutionary biology, addresses how things work, not why they exist or what they mean. These deeper questions belong to philosophy, theology, and individual reflection. Evolution provides knowledge, but doesn't dictate values or ultimate meanings. Accepting evolution doesn't require abandoning meaning or morality. Humans create meaning through relationships, achievements, contributions, experiences. Morality can be based on empathy, reason, cultural values, religious teachings, or other foundations. Understanding evolution informs, but doesn't determine ethics. We can acknowledge evolutionary roots of behavior while choosing to act against those impulses when they conflict with our values. The wonder of existence isn't diminished by understanding. Learning that stars form from gravitational collapse doesn't make them less beautiful. Understanding how rainbows form doesn't make them less magnificent. Knowing that emotions have evolutionary origins doesn't make love less profound. If anything, understanding deepens appreciation. The universe is more wonderful because we can comprehend it. Life is more precious because we understand how rare and improbable it is. "You are stardust," Carl Sagan famously said. The atoms in your body formed in stars billions of years ago. These atoms came together through countless processes, eventually becoming you. You are the universe aware of itself. You are matter organized in such a way that it can contemplate its own existence. This is extraordinary and beautiful, regardless of how it came about. As sleep approaches, let these thoughts settle. You are part of something vast and ancient. Life's story includes you. You carry within you the history of life on Earth, in your cells, in your DNA, in your very structure, you exist because of 4 billion years of evolution, because countless ancestors succeeded against enormous odds. Tomorrow, you'll wake and continue your small part in life's ongoing story. You'll live, experience, perhaps contribute something that lasts beyond you, whether through children, creations, ideas, or actions. You'll influence the future. You're a link in the chain connecting past and future, a temporary manifestation of the continuous process that is life. Rest now in the knowledge that you're part of something greater than yourself, part of life, which has endured for billions of years through countless challenges, part of evolution, the process that has created all of Earth's magnificent diversity, part of the universe, which brought forth matter capable of understanding itself. Sleep peacefully, knowing that life continues. Tonight, as you sleep, organisms around the world are living, reproducing, evolving. Bacteria divide, plants grow, animals hunt, hide, mate, raise young. In oceans, forests, deserts, cities, life persists. The process that began billions of years ago continues uninterrupted. Evolution never sleeps. It's constant, ongoing, inexorable. Your dreams tonight might include strange creatures, dinosaurs, perhaps, or bizarre animals from imagination. These dream images connect to evolution. Your brain, evolved over millions of years, creates scenarios during sleep. The content might be random or might process experiences, but the capacity to dream itself evolved. Sleep and dreams serve functions, though we don't fully understand them. Even these mysterious mental phenomena have evolutionary histories. Tomorrow, look at living things with new appreciation. The bird outside your window shares your common ancestry. The tree in your yard is your distant cousin. The bacteria in your gut descended from the first cells. Every organism you encounter is a marvel of evolution, the product of millions or billions of years of adaptation. Each has its own evolutionary story, its own remarkable features, its own strategies for survival. Notice adaptations around you: birds' wings for flight, fish gills for breathing underwater, flowers' colors attracting pollinators, camouflage hiding prey from predators. The world is full of elegant solutions to biological problems, each crafted by evolution through countless generations. These adaptations aren't designed by intelligence, but emerge through natural selection, making them even more remarkable. Consider human diversity. People vary in appearance, abilities, and characteristics. This variation is raw material for evolution. If environments change dramatically, some variations might become advantageous. Humanity's genetic diversity, often celebrated culturally, also has evolutionary significance. It's insurance, ensuring that whatever challenges arise, some people might have traits helping them survive. But humans also share profound similarities. All humans are one species, capable of interbreeding, sharing nearly all their DNA. Genetic differences between human populations are small compared to differences within populations. Race is a social construct, not a biological category. Evolution created human variation through adaptation to different environments, but it also created our fundamental unity. Evolution's lessons extend beyond biology. Evolutionary thinking applies to culture, language, technology, ideas. Cultures evolve as practices that work persist and spread, while unsuccessful practices disappear. Languages evolve as words change, grammatical rules shift, New languages emerge from old. Technologies evolve as innovations build on previous inventions. Useful tools persist, and obsolete technologies fade. Memetics, proposed by Richard Dawkins, suggests ideas evolve like genes. Memes, units of cultural information, compete for attention, replicate through communication, and mutate as they spread. Some memes persist for generations, others fade quickly. This isn't perfect analogy. Cultural evolution differs significantly from biological evolution, but evolutionary thinking can illuminate cultural change. Understanding evolution fosters intellectual humility. Evolution shows how complex systems can arise without design or foresight. It demonstrates how local interactions following simple rules can produce global patterns. It reveals how improbable events, given enough time and opportunities, become inevitable. These insights apply beyond biology, informing understanding of economics, sociology, technology, and other complex systems. Evolution also teaches patience. Meaningful change often requires long timescales. Instant transformations are rare. Gradual accumulation of small changes is common. This applies to personal growth, social change, environmental recovery. Understanding evolution's pace can provide perspective on contemporary changes, recognizing that significant transformations take time. The study of evolution continues advancing. New fossils are discovered regularly, filling gaps in our understanding. DNA sequencing reveals relationships among species and traces historical population movements. Studies of development show how genetic changes produce morphological differences. Research on rapidly evolving organisms like bacteria provides real-time observations of evolutionary processes. Every year brings new insights into how evolution works. Questions remain. How exactly did life originate? Could life have originated differently, producing fundamentally different biochemistry? How predictable is evolution? Would evolution on another planet produce similar or completely different forms? How important is contingency versus inevitability in evolution? How does consciousness arise from material processes? Favors individuals maximizing their own favors, individuals maximizing their own survival and reproduction. Yet cooperation, helping others at cost to oneself, is widespread. How does altruism evolve? Several mechanisms have been proposed. Kin selection explains helping relatives who share your genes. Reciprocal altruism explains helping others who might return the favor. Group selection might favor cooperative groups over selfish ones. Cultural evolution can promote cooperation through reputation and punishment of cheaters. Humans are extraordinarily cooperative compared to most species. We cooperate with non-relatives, strangers, even people we'll never meet again. We create institutions, governments, companies, clubs, coordinating millions of people. We develop moral systems encouraging cooperation and punishing cheaters. This ultra-sociality, possibly unique to humans, enabled our species' success. Understanding cooperation's evolution helps explain human nature and social organization. But humans also compete, sometimes violently. War, genocide, oppression have occurred throughout history. Understanding aggression's evolutionary roots doesn't excuse violence, but provides context. Humans inherited tendencies toward both cooperation and competition from ancestors. Which tendencies dominate? depends on circumstances, culture, choices. We're not prisoners of our evolutionary past, but can recognize these tendencies and choose to cultivate better angels of our nature. The evolutionary perspective can foster both realism and hope. Realism, because it recognizes constraints. We're biological organisms with evolutionary baggage, facing real limits. Hope, because evolution demonstrates life's incredible adaptability and resilience. If bacteria can evolve resistance to antibiotics in years, and dinosaurs' extinction allowed mammals' rise, perhaps humanity can adapt to current challenges and create better futures. Climate change, environmental degradation, inequality, conflict. These challenges are enormous, but they're not unprecedented in life's history. Species have survived climate changes before. Ecosystems have recovered from devastation. New forms have emerged from crises. This doesn't guarantee human survival or success, but it shows that recovery and renewal are possible. Life persists, adapts, finds ways. Your individual life is brief compared to evolutionary time. You exist for decades or perhaps a century. Species exist for millions of years. Life has existed for billions. Yet your brief existence matters. You experience joy and suffering, create and destroy, love and lose. Your subjective experience is real and important, regardless of life's vast timescales. You're both infinitesimal and infinite, a tiny part of something vast and a universe unto yourself. Evolution tells us where we came from, but not where we should go. It describes what happened, not what should happen. We must decide our values, goals, meanings. Science informs these decisions, but doesn't make them for us. Evolution is history and process, not prescription or purpose. We're free to choose, constrained by reality, but not dictated to by it. As your breathing slows and deepens, let your mind drift through deep time. Imagine Earth 4 billion years ago, lifeless and hostile. See the first cells appearing in ancient oceans. Watch them multiply and diversify, filling every available niche. See oxygen accumulating, poisoning some but empowering others. Watch continents drift, climates shift, species appear and disappear. See the Cambrian Explosion, oceans suddenly teeming with complex life. Watch plants colonize in barren land, transforming Earth's surface. See the first amphibians crawling onto shore, ancestors of all terrestrial vertebrates. Watch dinosaurs dominate for over 160 million years. See the asteroid impact, the extinction, the ash-darkened sky. Watch mammals diversify, primates evolve, hominins appear. Follow your ancestral lineage through time. Your ancestors 4 billion years ago were single cells. Your ancestors 1 billion years ago were still microscopic. Your ancestors 500 million years ago were small marine creatures without backbones. Your ancestors 400 million years ago were fish. Your ancestors 300 million years ago were amphibians. Your ancestors 200 million years ago were small, shrew-like mammals hiding from dinosaurs. Your ancestors 100 million years ago were primates living in trees. Your ancestors 10 million years ago were apes. Your ancestors 2 million years ago made stone tools. Your ancestors 200,000 years ago looked much like modern humans, but lived as hunter-gatherers. Your ancestors 10,000 years ago began farming. Your ancestors a few generations ago lived in a world unimaginably different from yours. And here you are, the current culmination of this unbroken lineage. You carry the history of life within you. Your DNA contains genes billions of years old. Your cells use molecular machinery that evolved long ago and has been preserved because it works. Your body's basic plan, bilateral symmetry, vertebrate column, 4 limbs, evolved hundreds of millions of years ago. More recent additions, large brain, upright posture, language, distinguish you as human. But most of you is ancient. You breathe oxygen created by cyanobacteria billions of years ago. You eat food, plants or animals that ultimately depends on photosynthesis, an invention older than you by billions of years. You live on a planet transformed by life, oxygen in the atmosphere, soil created by organisms, climate moderated by living things. You're not just on Earth, you're part of Earth, inseparable from the living system that created and maintains you. Tomorrow's dawn will break on a world where evolution continues. Somewhere, a mutation will occur that eventually spreads through a population, changing it slightly. Somewhere, selective pressure will favor certain traits over others. Somewhere, populations will become isolated and begin diverging. Evolution doesn't pause, doesn't wait. It's constant, relentless, creative. But evolution has no consciousness, no purpose, no goal. It's not trying to create anything. It's simply the inevitable result of variation, inheritance, and selection. Given replicating entities that vary and face environmental challenges, evolution must occur. It's not miraculous, it's automatic. Yet the results, the breathtaking diversity of life, inspire awe as profound as any miracle. Your existence is improbable, but not miraculous. Given Earth's conditions, the right chemistry, and billions of years, life's origin was perhaps inevitable. Given life, evolution was automatic. Given evolution and particular environments, certain outcomes became likely. Your specific existence required countless contingent events. But something like you, a large-brained, social, bipedal primate, might have been likely given the trajectory of primate evolution. This doesn't diminish you. Understanding natural processes behind your existence doesn't make you less special or meaningful. You're still a conscious being capable of love, creativity, wonder. You still matter to yourself and those who care about you. You can still find purpose and create meaning. Natural origins don't preclude significance. They provide context. Religion and evolution can coexist. Many people embrace both, seeing no contradiction. They view evolution as the mechanism through which divine creation operates. They appreciate both scientific understanding and spiritual meaning. Others find meaning without religion, through human relationships, creative pursuits, contribution to others. Diverse paths to meaning exist. Evolution is compatible with many of them. What will evolution create in the future? If Earth remains habitable, life will continue diversifying. New species will emerge from old. Ecosystems will change, adapt, reorganize. Perhaps intelligent life will evolve again if humans disappear. Perhaps not. Evolution doesn't guarantee progress toward intelligence or complexity. It simply adapts populations to their environments. Future evolution might produce simpler organisms if simple forms thrive better in future conditions. Humans might shape Earth's evolutionary future profoundly. Through climate change, habitat destruction, pollution, and overhunting, we're causing extinctions and altering selection pressures. we're also preserving species through conservation, reshaping them through breeding and genetic engineering, and possibly spreading life beyond Earth. Future evolution will reflect human impacts, for better or worse. Could humans guide their own evolution? Genetic engineering might allow modifying human genes, eliminating diseases, enhancing abilities. But this raises profound ethical questions. Who decides what traits are desirable? How do we prevent inequality between enhanced and unenhanced people? What unintended consequences might genetic modification cause? Should we alter our evolutionary trajectory or accept what natural processes have made us? Perhaps more important than genetic enhancement is cultural evolution. Humans adapt primarily through culture, not genetics. Better education, institutions, technologies, values, these shape human society more than genes do. Cultural evolution happens faster than genetic evolution and allows rapid adaptation to changing conditions. Focusing on cultural rather than genetic improvement might be wiser and safer. Your legacy isn't primarily genetic unless you have children, and even then, your genes mix with others across generations until your specific contribution becomes vanishingly small. Your legacy is more likely cultural. Ideas you share, creations you make, people you influence, contributions you provide. These can persist and propagate, affecting future generations in ways your genes might not. But even without notable achievements, your life has value. You experience the universe from your unique perspective. You enjoy pleasures, endure pains, form relationships, make choices. Your subjective experience is real and important. You don't need to justify your existence through achievements or reproduction. Existing, experiencing, living, these have intrinsic value. As sleep deepens, let go of questions and concerns. Evolution will continue whether you think about it or not. Life will persist, adapt, change. You've contemplated your place in this grand story. You've considered connections between you and all life, between past and future, between individual and species. That's enough for tonight. Rest in the comfort of continuity. You're part of something that has endured for billions of years and will likely continue for billions more. Your brief life is one small flame in an eternal fire, one note in an endless symphony. You're simultaneously insignificant and essential, insignificant to evolution's grand sweep, essential to your own experience and those who know you. Sleep now, letting thoughts of evolution fade into dreams. Your body rests, but within your cells, molecular machinery works continuously, products of billions of years of refinement. Your brain processes and consolidates the day's experiences, utilizing structures and processes that evolved over millions of years. Even in rest, you're a testament to evolution's creativity. Dream peacefully, knowing you're part of life's magnificent tapestry. Dream of ancient seas teeming with strange creatures. Dream of vast forests inhabited by dinosaurs. Dream of your ancestors, stretching back through time, each one surviving long enough to continue your lineage. Dream of future humans, or whatever intelligent beings might follow us, looking back at our time as we look back at the ancient past. Or dream of nothing, sinking into deep restorative sleep. Let evolution's long story become background, fading as consciousness fades. You need not contemplate cosmic timescales or ancestral lineages. Tonight is for rest, for the rejuvenation sleep provides. Tomorrow brings time enough for wonder, for learning, for engaging with life's marvelous complexity. Your ancestors survived so you could be here. Through ice ages and heat waves, through droughts and floods, through predators and diseases, through competition and scarcity, every one of your ancestors survived long enough to reproduce. This is an extraordinary achievement, repeated billions of times across billions of years. You exist because of an unbroken chain of survival and reproduction stretching back to life's origin. This perspective can inspire gratitude. You're the beneficiary of billions of years of struggle and success. You inherited a body and mind shaped by countless generations' experiences. You didn't earn this inheritance. You received it freely, a gift from all who came before. Perhaps this warrants appreciation, humility, and responsibility to use this gift wisely. You're also creating the future. Your choices, actions, and influences ripple forward in time. If you have children, they'll carry your genes and your teachings. If you create works, they might outlast you. If you treat others kindly, they might pass that kindness forward. If you contribute to knowledge, future generations might build on it. You're not just evolution's product, but its participant, shaping what comes next. Evolution shows that change is possible. Species transform over time. Populations adapt to new conditions. Life recovers from catastrophes. Nothing is fixed or permanent. This can inspire hope in the face of challenges. Problems that seem insurmountable might be solved given time, creativity, and persistence. Evolution demonstrates nature's problem-solving capacity, finding solutions through trial and error across countless generations. But evolution also shows that adaptation has limits. Change that's too rapid can overwhelm species' ability to adapt. Environmental changes that eliminate all suitable habitat can cause extinction regardless of potential adaptability. Evolution requires genetic variation, but this variation might not include needed traits. Evolution can solve many problems, but not all, not quickly, not without cost. The balance between hope and realism is important. Evolution inspires hope by demonstrating life's resilience and adaptability. It inspires realism by revealing constraints and costs. Naive optimism that life will find a way ignores that countless species haven't found a way. They've gone extinct. Careful stewardship of life and environments is necessary because evolution can't quickly undo damage humans cause. Understanding evolution can inform conservation. Protecting genetic diversity preserves raw material for future adaptation. Maintaining large populations prevents genetic drift and inbreeding. Connecting habitats allows gene flow between populations. Reducing environmental stress gives species time to adapt. These actions support evolutionary processes, helping species persist through changing conditions. Evolution also reveals the interconnectedness of life. No species exists in isolation. Each interacts with others, eating and being eaten, competing and cooperating, hosting and being hosted. These ecological relationships evolve together. Species literally shaped each other's evolution. Disrupting these relationships can cascade through ecosystems, causing unexpected consequences. Everything is connected through evolution's web. Your body hosts entire ecosystems. Trillions of bacteria live in your gut, on your skin, in your mouth. These microbes, your microbiome, evolved alongside humans, performing functions essential for health. They aid digestion, produce vitamins, train your immune system, and protect against pathogens. You're not a single organism, but a community, a walking ecosystem. Evolution shaped not just humans, but these relationships between humans and microbes. Even your cells aren't purely human. Mitochondria, your cells' powerhouses, descended from bacteria. Chloroplasts in plant cells descended from cyanobacteria. These organelles retain their own DNA, reproducing independently within cells. They're ancient symbionts, so thoroughly integrated that they're now indispensable. You literally carry within you the descendants of ancient bacteria, reminder of life's interconnectedness. Your emotions have evolutionary roots. Love helps bond parents to children and partners to each other, increasing reproductive success. Fear helps avoid dangers. Disgust helps avoid contamination. Anger helps compete for resources. These emotions feel personal and unique, yet they're shared human experiences, evolved over millions of years because they enhance survival and reproduction. But emotions can't be reduced to evolutionary functions. Love is more than reproductive strategy. Art is more than sexual display. Curiosity is more than information gathering. Human experiences transcend their evolutionary origins. Understanding where emotions came from doesn't diminish their present meaning. A beautiful sunset is no less beautiful for understanding the physics of light scattering. Consciousness remains mysterious despite evolutionary insights. How do physical processes in brains produce subjective experience? Why does anything feel like anything? These questions, the hard problem of consciousness, remain unresolved. Evolution shaped brains that are conscious, but explaining consciousness's emergence from matter remains challenging. Perhaps future science will solve this mystery, or perhaps it will remain forever puzzling. Your capacity for wonder, for contemplating your own existence and origins, is itself a product of evolution. The brain structures allowing abstract thought, self-reflection, and philosophical questioning evolved over millions of years. These capacities might have evolved for practical reasons, planning, social maneuvering, tool-making, but they enable much more, including the ability to ponder evolution itself. This reflexivity is remarkable. Your matter examining matter, life studying life, evolution understanding evolution. The universe has organized itself into a form that can contemplate its own existence and history. Whether this has meaning beyond itself, whether consciousness has purpose beyond survival and reproduction, are questions evolution can't answer. But evolution created the capacity to ask these questions. As you settle into deeper sleep, let these thoughts dissolve. Evolution's story is vast, but your immediate experience is small, personal, present. Tomorrow you'll wake, live your life, make your choices. Evolution provides context, but doesn't determine everything. You have agency within constraints, freedom within limits, meaning despite meaninglessness. Sleep restores you for tomorrow. Your body repairs itself. Cells divide, tissues mend, systems recalibrate. Your brain processes memories, consolidating learning, integrating experiences. These restorative processes themselves evolved over millions of years. Sleep is universal among animals, suggesting its ancient importance. Even this basic necessity has an evolutionary story. Dreams might serve evolutionary functions, practicing responses to threats, consolidating memories, processing emotions. Though we're uncertain, regardless of function, Dreams are experiences you have, narratives your mind creates. They might be meaningful or meaningless, profound or absurd. Either way, they're yours, part of your consciousness's mystery and wonder. Tomorrow brings new experiences, choices, opportunities. You'll continue your life, this brief flash of consciousness in the vast darkness of time. You'll interact with other organisms, people, pets, plants, perhaps barely noticed microbes and insects. Each of these organisms has its own evolutionary story, its own remarkable adaptations, its own struggle to survive and reproduce. Look at life with appreciation and humility. Every organism you encounter succeeded where countless others failed. Every species alive today is a winner, having survived to the present. Nothing alive today is primitive or less evolved. All are equally evolved. All are contemporaries. All are evolution's current successes. You're privileged to live in an age that understands evolution. For most of human existence, life's origins and diversity were mysterious, explained through myths and speculation. Only in the last 150 years have we understood evolution's mechanisms. You live in a time that can see life's grand pattern, can trace connections across billions of years, can understand your own origins and nature. This knowledge is both humbling and empowering. Humbling because it reveals you're not separate from or above nature, but part of it, one species among millions, a recent arrival in life's long history. Empowering because understanding evolution provides tools for improving agriculture, medicine, conservation, and perhaps even human society. Use this knowledge wisely. Respect other life forms, recognizing your kinship with them. Protect biodiversity, preserving evolution's achievements. Consider long-term consequences of actions affecting environments and ecosystems. Make choices reflecting understanding that humans are part of nature, dependent on it, responsible to it, but also celebrate your humanity. You're the only species that understands evolution. You're the only species that can contemplate its own origins and future. You're the only species that creates art, music, literature, science. These capacities evolved in you, making you unique among Earth's life forms. This uniqueness brings both privilege and responsibility. Rest tonight, knowing you're part of something magnificent. The evolution of life on Earth is a story of creativity, persistence, and endless experimentation. It's a story of cooperation and competition, of success and failure, of diversification and extinction. It's a story that includes you, that made you possible, that continues in you. You are the universe become conscious of itself. You are matter organized in such complexity that it can wonder about its own existence. You are life reflecting on life, evolution, understanding evolution. This is extraordinary, wondrous, precious. Your existence is unlikely, but here you are, awake, aware, alive. Sleep peacefully, releasing concerns about evolution, about deep time, about your place in life's vast story. These contemplations have their place, but so does rest. Tonight is for restoration, for letting go, for sinking into sleep's embrace. The grand story will continue whether you think about it or not. Dream if you dream, or sink into dreamless sleep. Either way, your brain does its nighttime work, processing and consolidating, maintaining and repairing. Your body rests, rebuilding for tomorrow. These processes, evolved over millions of years, work automatically, requiring no conscious supervision. Trust them to do their work. Tomorrow's sun will rise on a world where evolution continues its slow, steady work. Organisms will be born, will live, will die. Some will reproduce successfully, others won't. Variations will appear through mutation. Selection will favor some variants over others. Gradually, imperceptibly, populations will change. Evolution never stops, never rests, never reaches a final goal, because there is no goal, only ongoing adaptation to changing conditions. You'll wake tomorrow to participate in this ongoing story. You'll make choices, take actions, influence outcomes. Your life matters in ways both large and small. You matter to yourself, to those who know you, perhaps to people you'll never meet if your actions ripple outward. And you matter to the evolutionary process itself, however minutely, if you reproduce or influence others who do. But whether or not you reproduce, whether or not you achieve great things, whether or not history remembers you, your life has value. You experience the world from your unique perspective. You feel joy and pain, love and loss, wonder and confusion. Your subjective experience is real and precious. You don't need to justify your existence to anyone or anything. You exist. That's enough. As consciousness fades and sleep deepens, let go of all these thoughts. Let go of evolution, of deep time, of your place in life's grand story. Let go of questions about meaning and purpose. Let go of concerns about the future, about humanity's survival, about what comes next. These questions can wait for another time. Tonight is for rest, for the peace that comes with releasing concerns, for the tranquility of letting go. You've contemplated vast scales of time and space. You've considered your connection to all life, your inheritance from countless ancestors, your place in evolution's ongoing story. You've reflected on life's history and diversity, on the mechanisms of change, on the wonder of existence itself. Now let it all go. Let these thoughts settle like sediment in water, drifting downward, becoming still. Let your mind quiet, your breathing slow, your body relax completely. Trust that you're safe, that tomorrow will come, that life will continue. Trust in the processes that have sustained life for billions of years and sustain you tonight. Sleep deeply, dreamlessly if possible, or dream pleasant dreams of things that bring you joy. Dream of beautiful places, of people you love, of experiences that fill you with happiness, or dream strange dreams of fantastic creatures and impossible worlds, or dream not at all, sinking into the deep rest that dreams sometimes interrupt. However sleep comes, may it be restful. May you wake refreshed, restored, ready for tomorrow's experiences. May the story of evolution, this magnificent tale of life on Earth, enrich your understanding and appreciation of the world. May it inspire wonder at life's diversity, humility about your place in nature, and gratitude for the gift of existence. You are evolution's child, born of billions of years of change and adaptation. You are life contemplating itself, consciousness examining consciousness, the universe aware of itself. You are unique, yet connected to all life. You are temporary, yet part of something eternal. You are small, yet contain multitudes. You are a mystery even to yourself, a wonder, a marvel. Rest now in this knowledge. Rest in the understanding that you're part of something far greater than yourself. Rest in the connection to all life, past, present, and future. Rest in the privilege of existing, of being conscious, of experiencing this brief moment of awareness in the vast darkness of time. Let your breathing slow. Let your muscles relax. Let your mind drift. Let sleep come naturally, gently, peacefully. The story of evolution will continue without your attention. The world will spin, life will persist, time will pass. All of this will happen whether you sleep or wake, whether you think about it or not. So release these thoughts. Release concerns and questions. Release the weight of contemplation. Float now into sleep, into the peaceful darkness where consciousness dissolves and rest becomes complete. Tomorrow brings new light, new experiences, new moments of wonder. But tonight is for sleep, for restoration, for the deep rest that makes tomorrow possible. Sleep well, knowing you're part of life's magnificent tapestry. Sleep deeply, trusting in the processes that sustain you. Sleep peacefully, releasing all concerns. Rest smarter by letting go completely, surrendering to sleep's embrace, allowing yourself the deep rest you need and deserve. The evolution of life on Earth is a story without end, a process without conclusion, a journey without destination. You're part of this story, this process, this journey. Tonight, rest. Tomorrow, live. Together, these create your brief but meaningful participation in life's eternal dance. Wishing you peaceful sleep, restorative rest, and gentle dreams. Wishing you contentment in your place in the universe, appreciation for the gift of existence, and wonder at the magnificent story of which you're part. Sleep now, deeply and peacefully, until tomorrow's light brings new beginnings. Good night. Thank you for listening with Sleepy Facts. Let your breath steady. Let your thoughts grow quiet. Rest smarter by allowing your mind to settle into the rhythm of night. If you enjoyed this moment of calm, you are welcome to subscribe. And if there is a topic you want to hear next, simply leave it in the comments. Wishing you a peaceful night and gentle dreams.